Gee, I wonder why. All right. Well, oh dear, I don't even have an opening.
You've got a lot of openings.
Let's see. Uh, I'll just pick review. We'll just...
Okay. Hey, I thought I gave
Good evening, everybody. Streamlabs came back on. Yay! Well, wait, it's yay and nay. I'll tell you that in a minute. But anyway, last night, for those of you who do not on Twitch who was like, what happened to the show? We had problems with Streamlabs last night. It would not work. I restarted my computer twice. It still would not come up. So what we had to do was we had to basically record the Zoom call, and then I uploaded that onto our YouTube
Shirley,
channel.
you froze up a little bit there.
I did? Oh
Yeah,
crap!
you did on my end.
All right.
I didn't notice
You're
anything.
moving now.
May
Okay.
just
You're
be me.
moving now.
I'm moving. I'm kidding. All right. So anyway,
No,
happy.
no, you're moving.
Well, anyway,
All right.
yeah.
Whose phone?
Lalas.
Yep. Anyway, good evening, everybody. It is Thursday night, or as I like to call it, Friday Eve here at Beyond the Airways, the Infinity Project, and I'm glad we're back up and running normally again with our animations. Yay! Of course, I got to work on one for Tech Talk, but anyway, it is Thursday, which means it's time for Thumbs Up Thursday's wild card, and tonight it's going to be Tech Talk, but our topic for Tech Talk is special effects in the movies. After all, they have really advanced over the past probably century, give or take,
Yeah,
right? So,
close
Oh
to it.
no, a lot longer than a century. Because take a look at the crude special effects they had in movies like Metropolis,
true.
and then from
Okay,
the Earth to the Moon.
Metropolis was made in the 30s. That's not 100 years old yet.
No.
Well, from the Earth to the Moon, it's
Mhm.
probably the same thing, but still, you look at the special effects they did on those movies.
Mhm.
Some of them were nothing more than like the moon was cardboard, and they lifted it up and down to make the moon go up and down.
Yep. Well, anyway, let me get to the intros. I'm your host for tonight. I am Oddball Extreme. I'm currently joined in line by four of my crazy cohorts. First, to my immediate left, we have our resident Ford Anglia, John. Hello, John.
Hey, Shirley.
To my immediate right, we have our resident Joker, Mike. Hello, Mike.
Evening, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Yep. To my bottom left, we have resident super sus Janet. Hello, Janet.
Hello.
And
Hello.
finally, to my bottom right, we have our resident Lala
Oh,
Lashana. Hello, Lala.
Good,
The
good evening,
invisible
everybody.
woman. The invisible woman.
My camera don't work on my phone, so I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Gotcha.
That's all
You're
right.
good.
Yeah, as long as you're here, that's all that matters. All right. So anyway, let's anyway, we were we didn't quite come up with a specific topic for Tech Talk. In fact, we kind of came up with this about what 30 minutes ago.
Less than 30 minutes ago, more like 15.
Yeah. So we decided we could do Tech Talk how like in the case of movie special effects. Because let's face it, it has evolved greatly as I still think back to the Ray Harryhausen days.
Oh, what was that one movie he did?
Clash of the Titans?
I can't. Clash of the Titans
Mhm.
with Harry Hamlin, wasn't it?
Yep. Mhm.
All right, thinking of Ray Harryhausen, I'll tell you something in a second. Lala, before we went on the air, didn't you say you had something you wanted to surprise us with?
Oh, yeah. I was on uncensored radio today.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ooh.
been a while. on
Wait a
that
minute, it wasn't Howard Stern, was it?
No, no.
Good deal.
Uncensored
Good
radio
deal.
is kind of like a partner with ours years ago with Jeffrey, Mike, and Karen Ashley.
Oh,
Um,
guys, unfortunately, I can't turn my camera so you can see it, but Maddie's starting to get bored and to get in a little bit of trouble. He just knocked over a box,
Oh crap,
knocked it over trying to climb onto it.
Maddie.
Maddie.
Well, if I can,
Maddie.
Well, at least it wasn't anything breakable.
I got the back massager on, so hopefully he hears that and realizes I'm a nice big purring cat. I mean, I'm not buxom enough for him to lie on me like that, but
Oh, be careful. He might go for other certain parts of your anatomy.
actually what he did last time he was up in this chair was to uh wedge his ass under my arm.
Ooh.
It
Okay.
was actually pretty nice. I've
Oh,
Hmm.
I
I've had
get that
small
one.
dogs do that to me. It works.
Okay.
Well, I haven't
Go ahead,
gotten a small
Lala.
dog do that. He gets under this arm right here.
Yeah.
Princess does.
Yeah, he
Go ahead,
got up
Lala.
under my right arm and just kind of lay there for a while.
Right. Hey, Mike, I'm sorry.
No, no, I'm just saying, go ahead.
Yeah. And anyway, I was on UCR today. I was invited because they were talking about the MJ case. So I spoke about my two
Maddie,
cents. I talk about my 2 cents. And also, I let them know that Michael is inducted into the
ooh,
Black Music Entertainment Hall of Fame along with Beyonce.
Nice.
if I gotta get up, guys, forgive me. Maddie, I think, is getting bored and trying to see if he can get my attention.
That's
Maddie,
fine.
Yeah. And also,
That's right, folks. Live. We're talking cats too.
yeah, and also I'm just gonna be saying this and
okay,
putting
hold
this
on a
and
second.
putting this, yeah, putting
I
this out
barely hear
there
you.
and putting this out there. The you down in France, I think it was in France. Yeah, the French panelists have torn up Dan Reed. They
Causing
castrated him.
trouble, are we?
They castrated him.
No, you do not need more food. You may get a midnight snack later, but you had a nice meal. You're fine. I have to find the.
How long are Sarah and Proto supposed to be?
They're gonna
How
be
long are you going to
back
be?
on Sunday,
Okay.
but right now I'm trying to find his spray bottle, so I got it handy.
Ah, gotcha. And don't worry, folks. It's water. It's not.
It's just water.
It's only water. So.
But for a cat, it might as well be acid.
Hmm.
Right now, Maddie wanted my attention. Right now, he's sitting by his food bowl because he cleaned it, and frankly,
You
I'm not sure
hungry?
he needs a midnight snack yet.
Oh,
Well, not
Never.
in no 908.
No, no, he doesn't. Sorry about
Okay,
this. I'm
who can
just.
say
Come
where
here, Maddie.
special effects first began?
Oddly
They had the
enough,
basic.
I'll tell you this. Some of the first attempts at camera trickery happened with a very old movie called The Execution of Mary, Queen of Scots.
Hmm.
Here's what happened. They led
What
the
year?
actress playing Mary to the guillotine. Later on the block, stopped the camera, replaced her body with a dummy, started the camera rolling again, and dropped the axe. When they edited the film, it looked like they had just beheaded a live actress.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's the way special effects started. You would film
Mhm.
up to a certain point,
Yep.
stop,
And
but
oddly
kind of like
enough,
the stop.
that was something that led to early stop motion.
Mhm.
They discovered that
Right. I was
by
gonna say.
stopping the camera, rearranging things, and restarting it, you could make it look like things moved around by themselves.
Mhm.
Case in point. Case in point. The way they had to manipulate the marionettes on Thunderbirds
Mhm.
or
Well,
Captain Scarlet.
Yeah.
Yes, I was
The way
about
they
to
had to
say that.
manipulate the marionettes.
And something else. Recently, when WandaVision was on, I got to see the assemble part. They were doing like the practical effects of what they had done literally in the 50s and 60s with the strings and everything. So it's like I give them credit for actually doing that because it's like they went old school because it was set, WandaVision first episode was set in the 50s. It's like that was really
Yes.
smart.
Yet in this case, it was done
Maddie.
with strings attached.
Right.
Now I have to be
Well,
honest with you, and I have to agree with Shirley and Janet on this. with the super marionation. I think what really took it to that higher level, case in point, is Captain Scarlet when
Yeah.
they did the whole
When the puppets became realistic, they
yeah,
look more human.
yeah, and for example, when they did the opening, you see all the other special effects and the fire and the ships that they ride and the jets. Also, they made it a lot of realistic because what
Hmm.
people don't realize with the super marionation, they actually use the real hands.
Oh yeah.
Their real hands to make it real. Also,
Hmm.
You still there?
Yeah, yeah, but it was kind of hard to
Mhm.
manipulate puppet hands.
yeah,
Right.
Because
it was
So
very
when
hard to
there was a
manipulate.
close up of a hand, you'd see an actual hand. But there's one tiny little blooper that stays on in one episode of Captain Scarlet. It's called the Inquisition. Basically, Captain Blue is supposed to jump out the window. You see it just for a split second. You see a hand on the screen throwing the puppet.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah,
I have to be honest. That was the best blooper they ever had. So
yeah.
yeah, I
And
did
they
see that.
kept it in. They never took it
Maddie.
out. Yep, they kept it in. But I'll tell you this: I think one of the funny now, a lot of us do not like the 2004 Thunderbirds movie. I understand that, but the
Uh,
one thing I do give credit for is that one scene where I think it's Alan and Fermat. They're about to take off at Thunderbird One. You see the puppet hands with the strings. That was hilarious.
From what I understand, I think they were paying homage to
Yes,
Gary and Sevilla Anderson. As far as
Jerry and
I know,
Sylvia. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, I think they were paying homage to them for that.
Yeah, the only drawback is a lot of people said, why didn't you let Jerry give any put feedback in there? I was like, because that would have
I
made it a
would
whole
have
lot
to
better.
agree. I would
Oh,
have
you
to
wanted
agree on that. I would have to agree on that because number one, my mom and I said, "Hey, mom," I said, "You know, the new Thunderbirds is out." She's like, "Oh, it is." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I watched it." She was like, "Well, how is it?" I said, "I'm." I said, "Mom, I'll tell you my opinion after we watch it together." Mainly through the middle of the movie, she cut it off. She's like, "I don't like it." She was like, "Give me the original." I said, "You got it." She was like, "Why didn't they put Gary Anderson into this whole live action Thunderbirds?" They didn't. She was
Mm-mm.
like, waste of money. I'll take the
Maddie.
puppet any day.
Well, I mean, I'll admit I saw the movie twice in a theater. It was my excuse to get out of the heat for a couple hours.
mine too. Mine too.
So, but I mean,
Mhm.
if
Excuse me a second.
I think the problem with that particular movie, it turned into Spy Kids for the most part. That was the biggest problem. Because they left Jeff and everybody up at Thunderbird 5, and all they had left was Alan,
Fermat,
Tintin and Brain.
Tintin, Fermat, um,
Lady Penelope, and Parker.
yeah.
Yeah, mainly they let them be the superheroes for once.
Hmm.
Maddie, I got the
But
spray
I
bottle
also
Maybe
give
now.
I
that was
also
an
give I
episode
also
of.
give Ben Kingsley credit too.
One up?
'Cause he did
Coming
pretty
up?
good as the Hood, in my opinion.
You know what? To be honest with you, for that one, I have to agree because
Come on.
they had to pay homage. They had to pay homage sooner or
Maddie,
later.
come
So
on.
the actor that they used to play as the Hood,
Ben
I have to
Kingsley,
be
yeah.
honest. Yeah, he was a
Come on up.
splitting image of the Hood, in
Hmm.
my opinion. He
Yeah.
did a
Come
good
on.
job. He
And
really
let's
did.
face it, Ben
Come on,
Kingsley's
Maddie.
always been good as a
Do it.
villain. Because you remember that commercial a few years ago in the Super Bowl with the Jaguar and the British villains? Ben Kingsley
Yeah,
was
Come on.
featured. Him, Tom Hiddleston, and Mark Strong.
right. Now, if you're talking about other special effects from movies, I'll give you my pick that I thought was really good, mainly as a kid,
Hmm.
and still is to this day. Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
fell.
yeah.
It was good, but I fell asleep because to
Come on,
me it
buddy.
was very boring. But for a first attempt to establish the Star Trek franchise, it was not bad.
Now, the reason why everybody thought it was boring is when they went into
V'ger.
Hey,
yeah,
guys.
when they went into V'ger, and
Okay.
when you see the whole
Maddie.
and when you
Hold
see
on.
the whole
There we go.
when they going
Ash.
up above the aliens.
Maddie.
Oh, look at the kitty.
Aw,
That's
Hey,
Maddie.
Maddie.
Maddie
That's
Kitty.
Maddie.
Look
Hello,
at the
Maddie.
kitty.
Hi,
Hello,
Mads.
Maddie. How are you?
How you doing, Maddie?
Maddie's
He's
like,
being catty
"Where-"
today.
yeah, Maddie's
She
like,
wants to be.
Yeah.
where are mommy and daddy?
She
That's
wants to
why.
be. Oh, that's it. That's what it is.
Mhm.
But anyway, the vigil part was the one that was kind of boring for everybody because they used the slow movement tactics.
Mhm.
And plus, like I told everybody, it wasn't meant to be boring, but the music tells the whole story.
Mhm.
How do I know? Because
Uh-huh.
I have the whole Star Trek the motion picture soundtrack downloaded on my phone.
Ah.
So yeah,
Tell you
it
guys
does.
Dun,
something
dun, dun.
funny real quick if we're at a point where I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mhm.
I can't remember if it was Godzilla or King Kong, one of those movies. I think it was King Kong.
Mhm.
But one of the King Kong sequels had a piece of special effects that for its time was so well done, people thought it involved live animals.
Oh
There
wow.
Is
was a
it, well, are
scene.
we talking the modern version of King Kong or
No,
the
no,
original
this is
one
the
with Fay Ray?
original.
The original.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Originally, King Kong was a stop motion figure, and he was not made to look like a realistic gorilla. He was made to look like a parody. In one of the sequels, there was a scene where King Kong fights an elephant. The elephant was stop motion, like he was.
Mhm.
But they sculpted that elephant puppet so realistically that people who saw that movie thought that they used a live elephant for those scenes and actually wrote the production company to ask, how did you film a live elephant doing all that?
Wow.
They
That's
had
some
to
good special
explain,
You
effects.
know, you know it's good when people think it's real.
Mhm.
exactly. That's the
Just
whole
take a look
point.
at
You're
War of
trying
the
to make it
Worlds and the
look real.
special effects.
Yeah, and
Uh-huh.
look what happened with Jurassic
Remember
Park.
War of the Worlds?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The
And,
radio
and
program
even
scared
the
the hell out of
radio show.
everybody.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
intelligences cool and vast regarded our earth with envious eyes.
Mhm.
Da, da, da.
Well,
Come here, princess.
moving on. Here's some good special effects trivia for you.
Okay.
2001, A Space Odyssey.
Ah, I remember that
That
one.
was hard as holy hell to film.
Mm.
I'll tell you,
John,
uh,
you
You
froze
froze.
just for a second.
guys,
Get
I'm
get in
connected
here.
to an Ethernet here. I can't do much about it. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. That's not your
Yeah.
fault.
Princess.
We just want to give you the heads up. That's all.
Princess.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
You're good.
Anyway, there's a scene near the
Sorry, I'm talking to the dog. Go ahead.
cruiser, essentially a small spaceship about to dock in a space station,
Mhm.
is
Get on there. Go ahead.
matching its rotation rate with that of the station so it can hit the docking port.
Right.
Inside the cockpit, you actually see a diagram that's supposed to be computer generated.
Mhm.
That diagram was animated entirely by hand.
Wow.
And the same was true when they did the special effects in Star Wars. They didn't have the computing technology necessary just to generate it. They had to animate that in a manner similar almost to painting the individual developed frames, painting it into the frames.
Mhm.
Get under there. Come here.
Yeah, that's smart.
What's really neat is how they would simulate weightless environments.
Mhm.
You guys remember the scene in
Without having to use
But
without
it's seen
having to
in.
use the vomit comment, right?
well,
They didn't have the vomit comment
yes.
back then.
You guys remember the scene where the stewardess wearing the magnetic shoes
is
walks
walking.
around. She walks
Yes.
around a cylinder till she's upside down, then walks off screen.
Mhm.
They actually did that by putting her in a gimbal, mounting the camera to it, and turning the cylinder as she walked with the
Knock it
camera
off.
turning.
Mhm.
Sorry about that, people.
It's all right.
You
They
get
actually,
rowdy cats and dog barks.
yeah,
Get in there.
they actually did a similar thing for a scene later in the movie on the USS Discovery, where Frank Bowman and David Poole were going from
Get,
the
get in there.
length of the spacecraft to the rotor where gravity was simulated. They actually had to move toward a rotating chamber. Then, as soon as they got in, they stopped the chamber and started the chamber they were just in, where the camera was mounted, rotating. So it looked like they went in there, got rotated around, and went out of
Shut up, princess. Now be quiet. I don't think the people on Twitch want to hear your barking.
it. Any idea why they're barking, Janet?
Oh, she wants my undivided attention the way Maddie wanted you.
Mhm.
Well, Maddie is currently, check this out, Janet. Maddie is currently sitting right here.
Aww.
Ash.
Nice, yes.
Oh,
Finally
That's
settled
so
it.
cute.
Wait, don't bring the. Oh, dang it.
What's the
Maddie
matter?
finally settled.
Oh,
My.
I was gonna show Ash, but turn the camera back up.
Oh.
Hmm.
But anyway, um, it's. Do you know they got Do you know how they got the sound of the banthas in the original Star Wars movie?
No, but I know how they made the sounds of the lightsabers and the
Oh,
laser
oh, wait
firings.
a minute. That's right. What they did was they went to a guide wire that was holding up and the guy hit the guide wire,
And with a
and the
close up mic,
clanging
it sounded
noise that
like.
yes, yes.
Anyway, how'd they do the sound of the
So
bantha?
no, that's what I thought it was. It was the wrong thing. You were right.
Okay.
It was the sound of the lightsaber, not the bantha.
Well, here's a good sound effect for you then. Who here remembers the Ghostbusters truck, Ecto 1?
Oh
oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh, yep. Yep. I
You know
remember
how they
that.
made the sound of the siren?
How?
How?
They recorded the sound of a cheetah snarling, played it backwards, and varied the frequency.
Nice.
Oh,
Yep.
so that's how they came up with the ring,
Yep.
ring. Oh wow.
And they actually used the same special effects technique that was used to make the Invisible Man.
Hmm.
Oh.
What they
Huh?
did was they filmed the puppets that would become the ghosts on a black background and then double exposed them into the main film such that they look transparent. It's kind of like what they did in The Invisible Man was they had the actor playing him dressed and covered in black uh, and filmed on a black background with objects for him to manipulate. And then that was double exposed into the main film.
Damn, that kind of
Interesting.
They
reminds me. That kind of
that was
reminds me of the special effect in Ghostbusters 2.
Mhm.
they used the same thing, yeah.
It's amazing.
Ghostbusters 2, um, seen it used in
How about the version
very.
of Ghostbusters with McCarthy?
That was all CG. Yeah, the thing you got to remember is the original Ghostbusters was made in '84. That
Mhm.
was only a few years after Star Wars came out. So,
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true also. I have to be honest, through all my years from toddler age to now, when I first saw Ghostbusters, it scared the crap out of me. Cause the only thing that scared the heck out of me out of those days, out of the 80s with Ghostbusters, was the freaking terror dogs.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, I'll tell you
you mean
something.
the
Hold
library
on,
ghost
Jan.
didn't scare you?
Janet, go ahead, John.
Here's something funny to consider, Lala. Bill Murray was actually filmed behind the scenes saying this, but the whole reason that they had to make Ghostbusters a comedy was because as he put it, it was so damn scary. The concept was so terrifying they couldn't make it into a drama, let alone a horror. So they had to
Yeah,
make
but
it.
I have to be honest with you. They did a good job not only with the original Ghostbusters, but with Ghostbusters 2. Because I'm just gonna be honest with you, Ghostbusters 2, when I was like about 12 or 13 at the time, when that painting, was when they
Eco.
used the whole thing in the back, that slime stuff and that red eyes and stuff, and when they got close to the red eyes, I'm like, I said, Mom, I gotta go. She's like, well, you need to go. I said, because I need to go to the bathroom. She was like, you're not gonna see the whole movie. I said, Mom, that thing just scared the crap out of me, and I gotta go to the bathroom.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
my
stayed in there
favorite
about
part
a good
of
hour.
Ghostbusters 2 was always this, Lala. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Okay, we're breaking through. I see a little light. I'm in some kind of a chamber. There's tile work. Slime!
What?
What? It's a river of slime!
Yep.
There's got to be 25,000 gallons of it. It's flowing through here like a river.
Yep, because from 84, from 84, the original Ghostbusters, everybody didn't know about that whole old subway filled with slime because number one, in New York, everybody was so negative, and that's how it built.
Yep. Well,
And
honestly, I
you
don't
got to
know
remember how they
when the
got the
slime
it's
accumulated. I always thought it didn't accumulate until the painting of Vigo Carpathian came to American shores. Could be wrong, though.
Yeah, I would suggest I told people to do a lot of research um about that story. So
you
that's
want
the
to know
only thing I
something?
can tell you.
But I'll tell you this, Lala. There is one, the River of Slime aside, there's one line from that movie that'll always have a soft spot in my heart, and it's this. Hey, Captain, I think you better take this one. I'm busy. It's some dock supervisor down at Pier 34. What's the
What's the
problem?
problem?
He says the Titanic just arrived.
That was my favorite. That was my favorite out of all the skits. When you see those two guys sitting in the docking bay, you see all the people coming out of the Titanic. They're looking like, well,
Better
better
late than
late than
never.
never. That was, I had to be honest, that was the only thing that saved the movie.
Hey, Lala,
Mm.
you know who the guy with the dark mustache was in that scene?
It looked kind of remind me of Cheech Chong.
It was Cheech Marin.
I knew they were going to give him his spot sooner or later because you can't have a comedy without Cheech and Chong.
Um, well, National Lampoon never had him in there. Uh, don't think Stripes did. Meatballs might have. Uh,
Now, let's Janet have a word now. I'm
sure,
sorry,
sure.
Janet, continue.
I done forgot what I was going to say. Carry on. I'll let you know. I'll raise my hand when I can think of it.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, one thing I've noticed, Wanda. Let's go back to WandaVision. First episode, 50s had great special effects. 60s, the special effects were changing, and it's like they kept up with it. And like the last three episodes, it's like it's
There was
in modern
modern.
day. It was modern day, but it was fun seeing the. It's fun to see how they make the effects work.
yep,
I
that's
got
true.
I got something for all of us to consider. The
Okay.
evolution of CG special effects.
Yeah,
I'll give you a
definitely.
great example. The Harry Potter series.
Mhm.
If you watch the first
Yes.
movie, you can almost it's a little bit hard to discern with the Quidditch scenes,
Right.
but you can see where players on broomsticks were CG.
Mhm.
And you can always tell because what you'll see is that they look a little too perfect.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is this: old CG, you were basically doing really advanced computer animation. And what would often happen is that if you were computer animating, say, a person, the skin would look perfect. It wouldn't have freckles, wouldn't have pock marks, wouldn't have anything. It would just be a uniform color. They had to do that because of the processing power back then. See, first Harry Potter came out when Windows Millennium was popular. Windows XP was just getting out there. But you could tell based on that and how fluid the motion of something that was CG was when it was CG. Because the thing of it is, the motion, it wasn't like they could,
Hey, you be quiet.
it wasn't
I can't
like,
hear what I'm saying. Now be quiet.
it wasn't like motion capture where you could film somebody moving and have all the imperfections associated with the movement. What you had to do was make a rough estimate of how a body part or how an object was going to move around. Hello, princess, or was that Cosmo?
Princess Cosmo's laying down. Surely better wake up.
I'm here.
Well, you look like you're going to sleep.
I know, because
Yeah.
I've barely been sleeping this last week.
Okay. Well, the thing of it is, what you had to do was to estimate how it was going to move, specifically how it was going to accelerate, and you had to use that to figure out a realistic motion. And while it could be done, for the sake of keeping the math simple, you had to fudge it. So whenever you had CG characters, they would move very precisely because the math on that was really simple. Nowadays, you can do it more realistically, more imperfectly, as it were.
Mhm.
New Captain
Any,
Scarlet.
Yeah.
New Captain Scarlet wasn't. Well, it was part CG, part. Will you shut the hell up? Don't. Excuse me. Um, New Captain Scarlet was part CG, part motion capture.
Mhm.
uh huh.
A hybrid of both.
Yeah.
Now, Captain Scarlet, the CGI version of Captain Scarlet. Now, I have to be honest with you. Out of all the Captain Scarlets, I think that was the best one. But the one thing that kind of made it different out of the original, they made Lieutenant Green a female.
Right.
Yes, and an African American female on top of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because Lieutenant Green in the original Captain Scarlet was African American male.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was Trinadian. If you
Yeah,
want to
he was
get that
from
right
he was
technical
from
thing.
Trinidad.
I
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I thought that was. I thought the term was Trinidadian, but
Mm. Who knows?
The problem.
But I'll tell you this.
And I,
When? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lashana.
I'm sorry, continue, Shirley, and then I'll say my piece. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, you're fine. No, you go ahead. You finish yours up.
Right. About Lieutenant Green, I think everybody's favorite was Lieutenant Green because of that one line in that whole daggone movie pilot that they had. Will I get a coconut? If we ever get out of this, Lieutenant, I'll buy
I'll buy
you
you
all
all
the
the
coconuts
coconuts you can eat.
you need.
Still the favorite line ever.
Yeah,
was he ever? Was he ever called to pay up?
He
Mm,
probably did, but if it did, it was like long after the fact. I don't know. They never did show it in the
Yeah.
series, so.
well, you want
right.
to know something? The one thing about Lieutenant Green is he was Colonel White's right hand man,
Mhm.
second in command.
Mhm.
Yep.
Both Lieutenant Greens were.
Yeah.
And he very seldom got off sky base, cloud base, sky base, whichever series you're watching.
Mhm.
Cloud base.
So to see him teamed up with Captain Scarlet, and what was that episode?
News of
You know,
Ice. No, not News of Ice.
what was the name of the episode where he was supposed to?
Avalanche. Avalanche.
Avalanche. Because to see him teamed up with Scarlet in that episode was kind of neat. Because Lieutenant Green never got off the bridge that much, and in New Captain Scarlet, it was Proteus,
Mhm.
where it was up to Lieutenant Green to protect the Colonel when that rogue robot shot him and injured
Mhm.
him.
Yeah. And then I go back. I think about the original Thunderbirds with the marionettes and Thunderbirds Are Go. And I did one thing I definitely have to give credit for Thunderbirds Are Go because of the effects. The Thunderbirds themselves were able to go places that could never have been possible in the original. Just think about it. Thunderbird 2 goes into outer space?
And it's usually a Earthbound rocket.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree. Because you never seen that in the original
Because the
Thunderbirds with the Super
right,
Marionette. Because
right,
Thunderbirds never
because
got into outer space.
right, because it was just about impossible to do those kinds of effects back then.
Mm.
But seriously,
Now,
today
help
Virgil,
me
they're able to.
understand something, Shirley. Sorry
Yeah.
for interrupting, but I got to understand something.
Okay.
What kinds of effects were they trying to simulate with these marionettes that would have made shooting a scene set in outer space impossible?
Well, I mean,
Thunderbird 2 was originally designed to be land based.
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
no, we're talking about like how the marionettes would move and everything, like how they mostly for the most part they would basically have a base right there.
Okay, well, the thing of it is, when it comes to a marionette, it's real easy to simulate a weightless environment.
That is true.
And the fact is, um, unless you're having these people do acrobatics, I don't know how it's going to be impossible.
Well, I guess what it means is, they had like jet suits, but like they all they do was like pull the strings or pull the puppet up and so forth. And I mean to make the effects work, like for example, Fireball XL5, the way they would have them work, they would take oxygen pills. They wouldn't need a helmet because basically, to have a helmet for those puppets, they were caricatured puppets, not the humans, not the human-like ones like Captain Scarlet.
Yeah.
It would be so difficult.
Sorry, I missed some of that there. I think my internet's messed up.
Yeah, but
Um,
but back in those days, I mean, sure, there were some things they could do that today probably couldn't do, but it's the other way around too. But
Surely you kind of froze on my end
oh,
there.
okay, well, all right, but anyway, the effects back then and the effects today. I mean, it's the thing is, Thunderbirds Go has paid homage to the original. Of course, they have Jeff Tracy doing the countdown from the
I the
original.
Well,
yeah,
I tell you
I
what, after we're off the air,
Hmm.
show me an episode of the old Thunderbirds.
Okay.
I don't know. The thing of it is, even if you have to um, make some of their movement less elaborate,
Hmm.
to me, it is perfectly possible they were filming that. They filmed
Mm.
Hmm.
a way to make it look like a pen was not only floating but
Hmm.
gyrating.
Yeah.
mhm.
And the fact is, even if all they're doing is hoisting the marionette and letting them uh, float like they're swimming through air.
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing. They on the in the Thunderbirds they never actually showed that because basically Thunderbird 3 and Thunderbird 5 they were all controlled environments, so they had the gravity. So they never
Yeah,
actually
which is true.
showed it.
Which is
Yeah.
true. Yep.
Well, I I have my doubts that it would have been truly impossible. It might have been hard,
Hmm.
but the fact is, around that time, that was using black screen
All right.
for at least
I
some
am
of their
going to see
sketches.
if I can pick you. Hello. I'm going to go sit out in the chair. See if I can
Okay.
keep the dog quiet.
Okay.
Okay.
Just, I'm going to say something once I get settled.
Okay.
So just let me know if I'm garbled.
All right.
Thing of it is, um, I understand if it truly required something that wasn't invented yet, but
Mm.
I just, where was I going with this? Anyway, uh,
Now, if
It's
you're
difficult. It's difficult.
yeah, now if you're talking about the Thunderbirds, now we need to go to the other one, Joe 90.
Yeah.
And
what
if
is
you
it?
know
It's
Joe
called Joe
90 is
90.
Joe
Okay.
90 is about a 9-year-old boy whose father is a professor,
Mhm.
and he uses this
The,
machine called
the
the
big
Big Rat.
rat.
If you don't know what the Big Rat is, I'll explain it in a acknowledgeable way. Brain impulse galvanoscope record and transfer. It records your brain pattern and it'll transfer to Joe 90.
Mhm.
And Joe 90 is like got the brain pattern of a pilot,
Mhm.
a brain pattern of a
He
musician, or a brain pattern
of
of
an
a
Can you guys
astronaut.
hear me? Can
astronaut.
you
Yes.
guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Staticky? Is it
No.
No.
staticky? Okay.
So in Joe 90, what everybody knows, they use the same special effects like in Thunderbirds, and also they use the reusable stock footage
Yep.
of the Thunderbird.
Oh, quick thing. I got to make mention of this. Have you guys ever heard of Clutch Cargo?
Yes.
Yes.
That was one of the worst attempts at animation I have ever seen.
I agree.
And
The
my
way
first
it was so weird
exposure
with the
to it,
mouths.
Well, you have to be on. Well, I'm just gonna be honest with you. With Clutch Cargo, they did the same thing with the cartoon
okay,
called Space
sorry,
Angel.
Mhm.
Shirley, you froze up on my end there.
Okay.
What did he say? Or did he say anything?
I remember how weird those mouths were when they were talking.
You remember what that technique was called?
No.
Synchrovox.
Ah.
They actually parodied that in a special feature in the movie The Incredibles.
Oh, I
They
didn't know
had
that.
a very early animation of Mr. Incredible, Frozone, and their rabbit Skipperdoo that used Synchrovox, and it was incredibly stupid.
Uh-oh.
Hey,
I'm gonna
Janet,
Janet, I'm
you
gonna have
need
to
to
mute
get in
you.
range.
Yeah, Janet, I'm gonna have to mute you because we're getting too much feedback. Okay, I've muted her for now. I hope she's not mad at me.
Well, just remember to unmute her when she comes back.
Actually, she has to do that. I can't.
Oh, never mind. Well, I just know this. I've seen Synchrovox, that is.
Uh, yeah. But I saw it's like that is the weirdest animation I've ever seen in my life.
It's cheap, is what it is.
mm.
They did the same thing with Space Angel. So
Nice.
they did the same thing with Space Angel.
They even did
Also,
it in the music video to Future So Bright I Gotta Wear Shades by Timbuk 3.
Oh, I didn't know that. Hmm.
Yep. I'll show you after we're off the air, but
Yeah.
so
okay.
now if
Janet's
you're
back.
gonna talk about like more special effects, let me see. What special effects do I know about that really can?
Well, there's Ray Harryhausen's work.
Mm-hmm. And let's see. I can't talk about Star Trek because we already talked about that already. But
Here's one.
the one that kind of got me was Star Trek 3,
Mhm.
Yeah.
when the Enterprise blew up.
Mhm.
Let's see. Hold up. Oh,
Okay, I got an idea.
true.
How about when the first CGI tunes reboot?
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Oh my gosh, that was the best animation that they did.
Yeah, back in that time, that was really well done. I loved
Yeah,
it.
And
I
yeah,
was
because that
nowadays
was
we
not
watch
pissed.
it and
Laugh at it.
yeah.
I
I
mean, you.
was not pissed off. It's just that I was losing power on my headphones,
Okay.
Yeah.
and I was out in the
Um
backyard watching the dogs, and
Okay.
it's getting all staticky.
Mhm.
Tell you this. CG is like stop motion in multiple ways, but specifically because it went from being a special effects medium to a movie making medium in itself.
Mhm.
But there are good CG effects, and then there are the ones that are really bad.
Yeah, but I mean,
Well, yeah.
and
I
look at it
mean,
this way.
that's why sorry.
Go
That's why
ahead.
I brought up Harry Potter.
Mhm.
You can actually see the evolution of the quality of the CG effects as you go through each movie.
Mhm.
In the first one, you got uh in the first and second ones, you got creatures that are animated and they move such that you can tell it's not real. Then in the later ones, like the Marauders map, that was all CG, and that was
Mhm.
they were getting better because they had better processing power. Um, then later on, the spells that got cast, their effects
Mhm.
got to be more realistic. Um,
My favorite part of that is when Hermione slammed
Draco.
Draco. Yeah,
well, that wasn't a special effect; that was an acting technique, and
Mhm.
believe me, we'd have known about it if Emma Watson's fist made genuine contact.
Yeah,
but
but
still,
But
here's another here's another thing. Look at all the films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Started
yeah,
with Iron Man. It's going through. Black Widow's coming up soon, but I could see how the effects have seriously evolved through all of the movies.
yeah.
Because I mean, the fun thing is you see
Here's
so
another.
much blue screen and green screen. I mean, it's
I'll give you another example. Star Wars.
yeah.
You
yep.
compare the original where you had Muppets and animatronics for the creatures, including Yoda,
Mhm.
and hand painted special effects done post production.
Mhm.
Now you got everything with CG, and while the CG version of Yoda was a little, eh, the baby Yoda, that is good quality.
Mhm.
Sorry, no
Yeah.
responses or.
No, no. I
yeah,
mean,
I
look what
do
happened.
agree.
And look what happened with the Mandalorian. Mike, you
Hmm.
remember when Luke Skywalker showed up, and this is a spoiler by the way if you haven't seen it. Luke Skywalker shows up, and it's got Mark Hamill's voice, but they CG'd Mark Hamill.
Uh-huh.
Somebody else was doing the walking and the throwing the lightsaber and all. But when they opened it up, it was a CG of Mark Hamill's head from Return of the Jedi.
I didn't freeze up again there, did I?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to bid you guys adieu.
Okay.
Well, good night, Janet. Guys, we got 10
All right.
minutes left. Do you feel we got more points to run into the ground, or should we go to trivia?
Well, that'd be kind of pointless to do trivia with only 10 minutes left.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
I'm going to bid you guys adieu.
Yeah. All
So
right,
I am sorry if I screwed up, but
Janet, you're
hey,
fine. Okay, it's
so what are we
technology.
going to be doing for tomorrow's show?
It's nearly naughty Mad Libs, unless something happens first, which I don't think it will.
Well, you know
Hey.
what? Here's hoping nothing happens. Here- Here's, you know what? Here's hoping nothing happens. But here's hoping Streamlabs screws up. Yeah, you're hoping nothing happens, right?
Well, it wouldn't bother me whichever way, because now we have a backup plan.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, but going back to the special effects,
Okay.
the
Good
fact they
night, everybody.
good night,
Good
Janet.
night,
See,
Mike.
Night, Jan.
Good night,
Night.
Maddie. Good night, John. Good night,
Good
John
night.
Boy.
good night, Sue Ellen. Good night, Mary Lee.
Good night, listeners. Have a nice Friday.
All right.
Bye.
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 All right, but anyway, going back to how they did Mark Hamill. The one thing a lot of people did complain about a little bit when he was speaking, it didn't quite sync up correctly. But it's
Oh,
like, but
nice.
all things considered, it wasn't too bad. I mean, that's probably that's the probably the one thing when they have to use a different actor, probably motion capture to do it all. It was a little off, but that's okay because it was probably the first time they even tried that, and they'll get better in time. It's gonna get better with time, and that's okay.
Exactly. Um, hey, here's a quick trivia question for you guys about this tech talk.
Okay.
What uh, what production company produced the first feature-length
First feature length stop motion picture movie.
stop motion animated motion picture?
Ain't Disney or Pixar. I know that much. Let's see. Uh, Warner Brothers.
Nope.
There aren't that many. Let's see. There's Paramount, Warner Brothers, Universal.
You give up?
Yeah, I do.
It was Disney.
Oh.
Do you remember what the first feature-length stop motion movie was?
Mm.
Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, it was that
Oh,
recent.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, that was made in 1993.
Mhm.
Back then, stop motion was hard enough to do. You did have non-feature length stuff done by Rankin and Bass, for example.
Yeah, that's true.
You had it in special effects,
And you
but
also
there
did, and
was,
there was the California Raisins too.
yeah, but that was only a TV show.
Right.
You didn't have a feature length, entirely stop motion film
Mm.
until Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. And
Mhm.
oddly enough, had it not been that, the first one would have been the movie Chicken Run.
Ah.
You remember who did that one?
Mel Gibson.
No, which production company? I'll give
Fox.
you a hint. It
20th
starts
Century
with an
Fox.
A.
Amblin. Amblin.
Nope.
Mm.
Aardman.
Oh.
The same production company that did the Wallace and Gromit shorts.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Now they released it through DreamWorks.
Mhm.
Disney, for whatever reason, turned it down, but it was produced by Aardman.
Hmm. Did not
One
know that.
question: wasn't Chicken Run based off of the story of Chicken Little?
No, actually, Lala, Chicken One was based off an old historically fictional movie called The Great Escape.
Why
Mhm.
does that? Why does that
Okay,
sound so familiar?
Lala, The Great Escape is a story of a bunch of British POWs in Germany who tried to escape from a concentration camp.
Oh, okay. Now I remember. Now I remember.
Mhm.
And not only is Chicken Run based off of that, the opening credits pay several homages to the original movie. Because what they do is they show a bunch of escape attempts on the chicken's part, one of which was the escape attempt by the British POWs that actually worked, which was to dig a tunnel under the camp, under the fence, and to use a little wagon cart to pull people along so they wouldn't have to crawl through it all the way.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I think one last special effects, and I think we can call it.
Mhm.
There's one special effects which I wasn't even thought of during that time until I watched it when I was a kid. The 1970s Superman with Christopher Reeve.
Oh
When
Oh,
they
yeah.
yeah.
tried to attempt, and they put down in the poster, "If you can believe a man can fly,"
Mhm.
and they
Well,
used a whole lot of
Special effects to
special
make
effects
it
by
work.
hand. by hand
Mhm.
and try to capture it on screen was the most hardest attempt that Warner Brothers can do. So I
Oh
have to be
yeah.
honest, out of the 70s, for me as a kid all the way through now, Superman just made it, just did it,
Yeah.
just set it off.
Yeah, because all the affection, like the explosion of Krypton. Superman. Superman. That last part when you see him, he's flying up space, and you see that smile and everything. And it's like, boy, they really had to crank it up a notch.
And especially with the how he created the what's the Fortress of Solitude.
Solitude. Mhm.
Yeah, all of that snow was completely salt.
I believe it.
It was salt, and they have to like really have to watch out because the salt was eating the sole off of their shoes, so they have to use tape so the salt won't eat the soles out of the
Ugh.
shoe.
Hey, whatever works.
Amen.
And there's one thing that they kind of made it like really good is when they used the spaceship for Little Kal-El.
Oh yeah.
They actually use a demo of a baby doll, and then after that they put a live baby in the darn spaceship.
Mhm.
Well, they were pretty inventive back then. I'll give you
That's
an
true.
example in the movie Aliens.
Oh,
You
that's
know
like
what they used to fill up the queen's egg sac when it got a grenade shot into it?
yeah.
What they use, Lala?
I think they use like what water?
Nope. Yogurt.
Ugh.
You're telling me.
Ugh. I have to be honest. Out of all the horror movies, I have to be honest. Alien took the cake. For
Oh,
me,
this was.
Alien, the original Alien took the cake for me.
Oh, yeah.
I have to be honest. When they re-released it on back into the movie theaters, one of my friends took me. The whole place was packed. The
Mm,
whole place was packed. There were new generations of people who hadn't seen the original Alien with Sigourney Weaver. And I sat with this young lady and I'm just looking at her. She's like, I hope this movie's good. I said, look at here. I'm old school. You're new. You're going to like it and you're going to get the DVD when this is done.
yeah.
The whole place was coming unglued, screaming and hollering. And I was kind of upset because one parent brought their kid with them.
Ooh.
And all of a sudden we heard a kid say, Mommy, I want to go home. And I'm looking like, and everybody was laughing. I'm like, first of all, why would you bring a child to a rated R movie flick?
Because they're stuck babysitting them and they still need to get out of the house and to do something adult.
And
That makes sense.
I had to pull the mother. I had to pull the mother aside. I said, "Listen, there is a PG movie like right next door to us. Here's $10. Get another ticket for the kid. Just take him there. Do not take him to see no alien movie. Don't.
Exactly.
Just don't. Just don't do it. Don't do it."
Dating didn't come out until I think it was the early to mid 80s.
Yeah, but the one movie before we cut off, there is one movie that my mom didn't like, but I loved it because it was during
Hmm.
my time. Alien 3. I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved it. I don't care what no one said. I loved it. Even though Ripley went out a blaze of glory, I loved it. I loved it. Alien Resurrection? Yeah, that sucked. That sucked. That, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
I guess even bringing Winona Ryder and Ron Perlman in.
I'm sorry. Waste of film. In my opinion, waste of film.
Oh
Waste of film
well.
with Alien Resurrection.
Oh
Yeah.
well. All right. Well, I think we can end it right here. It's 10 o'clock right now. So we did it. We lasted a whole hour with it. Yay!
GG.
Yep. All right. But anyway, of course, our plan for tomorrow night is nearly naughty Mad Libs, unless we go to
However, if Twitch fails us, we will go full naughty and submit
upload to
our episode on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, because we're that crazy, folks. All right. But anyway, we hope you have a good night. Be safe, be careful out there. And I'm happy to say, after what happened Tuesday, just I'm glad nothing happened to me, but I don't know if you saw it, Lala. One of my friends here in Montgomery had an extremely close call. I'll show
Oh,
you. I will show you the picture after we get off. But
no problem.
we hope you have a good night and a safe night. And let me play the 10-second ending. Unfortunately, since I don't have a tech talk ending, so I'm just gonna use a general one. So bear with me.
Yeah, I can't see it, so I'm not sure I care.
All right, so that in mind, I'm gonna say love, peace, and chicken grease. Everybody have a great night, sleep well, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow for nearly naughty or possibly naughty Mad Libs. Good night, everybody.
Good night, folks.
Night night, guys.
Night, everyone.